Hello, quilting friends. I am so happy to see you today. Today is a meh day in the Hudson Valley in New York. Uh, it wants to rain. Maybe the sun wants to come out, but not really. It's just that sort of a day. But it's a happy day in my sewing studio. If you look at my glasses, you can see I have some really nice light over there, and I have another really nice light over there, which is helping you see me instead of me looking like the Blair Witch Project in here. But it's always a bright and happy day in the sewing room because we have good lights and because we're quilting. I am going to let me check the comments so that I can see who is on and answer some of your questions because this is a full week. It's a very nice week. I have a lot to show you, a lot to share, and I think I have some pictures that didn't come through yet. Because it is also a hectic week in a really nice way. So let me see. I'm going to pull up some pictures for you. Is that going to work? Let's see. Since I saw you last week, oh dear heavens, will you finally send? Send? The pictures didn't pull up because they're still on my phone. Why? 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 That never works. Okay. Anyway, let's see what I'm gonna try again. We'll try this one, this one, this one, this one, and that one. And we'll send this to me. Could I do this electronically? Yes. Yes, I could. Large. Okay. It says it's sent. I think it was too big. So, how are things going where you are? Of course, they all arrived at this time. So, this one, this one, this one, this one, and this one. And I am back. So, Savannah, hello, Miss Savannah. It's nice to see you. So I was teaching last weekend, like 10 days ago in New Hampshire. And that was my last teaching trip for the month because I'm waiting for a grandbaby and I wanted to be home for the whole month. They're due at the end of the month and I wanted to be available in case they needed anything. Now, I was not, the plan is not to have me there at the hospital because it's on the two of them. And they're kind of private people. My husband and I are as well. That we just want to be us. They just want to be them. So I'm not planning on hovering, but I want to be available if they need anything emotionally or physically. I'm only a 2-hour drive away. So I'm happy to tell you that I have the rest of the month off. No more waiting. I have a new grandbaby. And pink or blue, pink or blue, pink or blue. So I now have 4 grandchildren. And I originally had 2 boys and a girl. And now I have 3 boys and a girl. So I have a new grandson, and his name is Elijah. I have not met him yet. They are working their way home from the hospital, but I was up there as they were going to the hospital because there was a little drama involved, and they needed some extra ground support. So I might get to go Thursday, Friday, Saturday, every day after that. But they're certainly just making their way home today and want to be themselves. So yes, I have a new grandson named Elijah, and he's a cootie patootie, and mom's doing well, and everybody's just really, really, really tired. There was day and a half of labor. There was a lot going on. So emotionally draining, physically draining, and my husband and I will probably go up over the weekend, but I did offer to go up Thursday, Friday. If they want me to drive up, bring dinner, hold the baby so they can take a shower and take a nap. Happy to do that. It's only 2 hours away. I have good books. I have a nice car that's very comfortable to drive. So we'll see what it is they're waiting, what they need from me. Because even though we all know this grandbaby is all about me, it's really not. So that's what I've been doing. And I took Sunday off. Baby was born Sunday morning. Shortly before church, and I came home from church and I decided to, I don't know, make a blue quilt because, we do those things. I'm working on July's color block quilt, which is blue. These are the color blocks for it. I'm putting another color in there, but that is the basis of July's color block quilt. So that should be pieced by the end of tomorrow, in the next couple days. I'm just trying to get ahead due to my travel schedule. Let's see what else. So it's a boy. It's a boy. And girl stuff is so much funner to buy. So much funner. But if anyone has the "you must buy this for a baby boy" idea, please send it along. Because I've been on Carter's and Oshkosh and all of that. But we'll see. Tomorrow, I said I wasn't teaching for the rest of the month, which is half true. Tomorrow, unless there's an emergency with my my daughter, I will be here in my studio right here. Handy Quilter is having a summer, oh gosh, what are they calling it? Hold on, let me see what they're calling it. Where's my news? Summer Quilt Fest. It's yesterday, today, and tomorrow. And I'm involved in the tomorrow day. So there are online quilt classes. You can go to handyquilter.com and check it out. Tomorrow's lessons are all about I'm going to be on a panel talking about being in the quilting business, long arm quilting business specifically. As you all know that have been following me, I've been working a lot on stationary machine quilting and home machine quilting for the last 10 years, 15 years, actually. It was right after my son's wedding, 16 years, holy cow. I made the transition from long arm only to long arm and stationary 16 years ago. But I did have a successful long arm quilting business. I quilted about 5,000 quilts for customers. I put 2 kids through university doing that, and I will be on the panel discussing best practices and advice and answering some questions. So head over to handyquilter.com and check that out. Let me just see what's on Handy Quilter's main page today. Summer flash sale. What else? I'm trying to see if the classes, Moxie, find a long arm class near you. Okay, come and watch and learn every Tuesday. I'm just trying to find you a link for it. Handy Quilter. Handy Quilter community. Let's see what's there. Is there a thing? Is there a thing? I should have that link for you. Oh, maybe it's in my newsletter that I haven't sent out yet. Learn more. Image. Button. No. Anyway, find Handy Quilter Summer Quilt Fest and check that out if you're interested. Handy Quilter Summer Quilt Fest 2025. Gotcha. Found it. And I will put that link in there. I was working right up until you were here, so I didn't get all of this done. There we go. There's the link if anyone wants to join in tomorrow. Long arm quilting was a great way to get into quilting. I got to know a lot of quilters. I got to get involved in the industry. I got to make money off my passion. I got to enjoy the work that I did. And I quilted primarily during my children's teenage and college years because that's how I put them through college. I think I quit quilting for customers while my daughter was still in university because I was teaching more and traveling, and they didn't mesh well together because I couldn't keep a schedule since I was traveling so much. But it was a great mom job. It was a great it would be a great grandma job. My grandkids aren't near me. I've got 2 hours north, 2 hours east. So I'm not an in-town grandma. I'm close enough that I can get there pretty easily, but not so close that it's, oh, Mom, we have to do this. Can you stop over? Type of thing. We make a few more plans. It was able to, like, I could quilt at night while I was waiting for kids to come home from curfew. I could quilt in the morning while they were in school and then go do school stuff and do activities in the afternoon. Later on, I could quilt in the middle of the night while I am having a vacation from sleep, as I want to do. Let's see, Savannah, what long arm do you use? You recently sold your Avante and bought a Millennium. Great machines, both. I'm with Handy Quilter. I started with Gamble in 2000, and in 2006 I went to Handy Quilter, and since then I've had a Handy Quilter 16, a Handy Quilter Simply 16, Handy Quilter 16 Stationary, Sweet 16. I now have a Handy Quilter Capri behind me. I've had a Handy Quilter Fusion, and I now have a Handy Quilter Forte over there, which is like the Amara 24. It's just it was only sold briefly, but it's basically an Amara 24. So that is what I use. I'm very happy with my Handy Quilter. As long as you have a good machine that you are very happy with, I'm very happy for you. But I do contract with Handy Quilter and teach for them. So you can go to Handy Quilter for that. But I'm sure that the information will apply to any brand you choose to do a business with. Let me shut that down. So happy Tuesday. Yes, Carol, every day is a happy day, especially now that I have 4 grandchildren. Very happy day. I'm a new grandma again for the last 2 days, and they are on their way home from the hospital right now. Let's see. What else do I have to tell you about? So that I'm doing that tomorrow, and the link is on there, is in the chat for those who come in. So I'm doing Handy Quilter. It will be going in the newsletter, which should be going out later today. I found my I couldn't find my attachment to put my little card in to edit video. So I found that now, and I'll be doing that because I am home for the rest of the day. So this weekend I quilted this month's color block quilt, which is And Baby Makes 3. Now, recently I've been doing more simple quilting, get it done pretty quickly, use a stencil, do some linear quilting. And last week we talked about how should I quilt this. So I thought about quilting it in rows. I thought about quilting something in the gray stripes. I also thought about quilting it block by block, continuous curve and feathers. But last week, I forget who it was, and I'm so sorry. So name yourself if this was your idea. But someone said, oh, this looks like hearts to me. So there are actually feathered hearts in each of these dual blocks, and there are half of feathered blocks in the sides, in the half triangle, in the halves. There is continuous curve in here. There's ribbon candy here, and there are pumpkin seeds here. Warning, I'm in a pumpkin seed grid phase, so you can be seeing a lot of that. Carol, thank you very much. I am Grandma Brown. Someone asked me today what my grandma name was. I'm Grandma Brown to the 3 grandchildren who are vocal. I am, that gets a little confusing because there's also a great Grandma Brown. But we'll see on this side of the family if they want to give me a different name, I'll take one. I was thinking, I don't know, Tootsie. Kitty, I don't care, whatever they want to call me, I'll answer to. I got new hearing aids the day after my grandchild was born, so the hearing aids should take me through to hearing the next one calling me grandma, because I lost hearing suddenly, and now I'm losing it gradually, which is fine, but I suddenly took a very large loss in my right ear, and I was concerned for about a year or 2 that I would be going deaf. So hearing any little voices calling grandma, as in can I have? I'm good with that. It's just the best thing in the world. So color blocks. Let me pull up some of the quilting that I did on this. This got to be a little more involved because I was quilting through a 36-hour labor. I was up shuttling stuff when they were going to the hospital because they didn't have anything with them. They went immediately from the doctors to the hospital and medical and stuff like that. So I was up there as ground support. And then I came home and waited and waited and waited and waited and waited and waited and waited. In the early Sunday morning, I finally had a grandchild, but I quilted almost all of this quilt on Saturday while I was waiting. So I'm going to pull up some photos here. Let me open them up. Downloads. I took photos this morning and they weren't very good because the light is not stellar today. I have lights in the studio. You can see in my glasses. I have one over here. I have one over here. But I just couldn't get some good photos. So I'll keep trying. I'm not giving the quilt away. I keep all of my color block quilts. So we'll see what that looks like. But I will be editing this video. So that is the quilt when it's draped over my ironing board right before I was binding it. So that is actually a pretty decent picture of what it looks like. You can see that I have hearts in here, and I show you how I used a stencil for that and how I managed these feathers. I quilted nothing in this cornerstone. I quilted ribbon candy in the sashing, continuous curve in the blocks, and then pumpkin seeds in the border. Again, warning, I'm kind of in love with pumpkin seeds. So this was one of the pictures I took this morning. Not thrilled with it because this is hanging on the rack. You can see I have a light over there. I do well in the living room if the sun actually comes out. You can see the light is really strong right here, but that's the best pictures I have for, oh, and there's the wedding picture. I don't know why that one keeps popping up, but let me stop sharing. So that's the quilting of this quilt. It was a lot more, but I had some nervous energy to quilt off. And all while I was up there on Friday and with people who knew I was waiting, they're like, oh, you must be excited to meet the baby. And that really hasn't been my experience. And yes, I'm excited to meet the baby. It'll be fabulous. I can't wait to meet the baby. But I was more concerned about my child and not her child. Like, because they're concerned about her child. I am concerned about my child, like, because it's very stressful and very emotional. And, just how's she doing? How's my daughter doing? And that was my main focus. And of course, I want to meet this new baby. Let's see. Ribbon candy is your current nemesis. I do fine for a few inches, then it just goes awry. Practice. Not true. Not completely true. I have a better answer. Stop. It goes fine for a few inches. Go for a few inches and then stop. Because in my experience, my hands and my brain go at different speeds. In my experience, my mouth and my brain go at different speeds. And occasionally I need to stop, let my brain catch up with my mouth, and then I can talk again. When I'm doing ribbon candy, I stop, let my brain catch up with my hands, and then I can stitch again. So the goal is not to do all of it at once. The goal is to do it so it looks nice. So if you can do 3 or 4 little bits, do a couple inches, pause, just hit the button. Because you said you were on a long arm. So hit the button, pause. Turn it back on and stitch some more and pause. Does that kind of make sense? Hopefully that's a help. That's a trick from me to you. Let's see. Your quilt is lovely. The quilting is perfect for it. Thank you. It was going to be feathers, but it did switch to hearts last week. Savannah, it's been frustrating for sure. Yes. It was frustrating for me to learn to quilt again on a stationary machine because I started quilting on a long arm because I tried on a home machine. I was terrible at it. And then I went to a long arm, and then I work for a company. I contracted with a company that has a stationary machine, and I've got to push fabric. I'm like, I don't know how to do this. And then I paid attention to how I learned the second time. And it was really frustrating though, because I know I'm good at this. I'm really good at this. And if you've watched any of my videos, you know I'm now good at this. And the difference for me between being really bad at this and being really good at this is stopping. That I can do the shapes. I know I can do it on there. I know I can see it. I know what I'm doing. What is going wrong? What's going wrong is I'm not being very patient with myself. I need to do a little bit and stop. Do a little bit and stop. And then with ribbon candy, okay, stitch, stitch, stitch. Okay, stop where you're comfortable. Go. I'm picturing it. I may even finger draw it and say, okay, go. And go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, stop. And that's how I went from doing this to doing this, is I had to stop a lot. And then over time, it got faster. I was able to do more and able to do more and able to do more and more and more once it became natural to me. But anything that I'm learning new, I do have to stop. And that's what did it for me. So hopefully that helps. Okay, let's see. What else do I have to tell you? So that's coming. Let's see. Quiddity Rocks Creations. Breathing and waiting for my brain is a daily task. Yes, it is. Words I say often. I knew until you asked me. Or, oh, what is that word? And then I can get close to a last name. We played this game at church on Sunday. We were trying to think of a former church member, someone who had moved away. And I was like, Ed, And there were 3 or 4 women my age. We're all just trying to sound it out, and we eventually got it. But you got to wait for our brain. So be patient with yourself, especially as you're learning something new. And what's cool is this never has to be your favorite pattern. I mean, I do joke that it's the world's most perfect machine quilting pattern. And if you disagree with me, you're wrong. But it doesn't have to be your favorite pattern. You don't have to like it. I'm not very good at wishbone, but I also spend absolutely 0 time trying to be good at wishbone. The other suggestion for ribbon candy is to use a stencil for a while, and it'll help train you, as you're working your way on. I have no guilt in using training wheels, guidelines, whatever it takes to get the work done, whatever it takes to get the quilting on the quilt. So I have a quilt on this machine behind me. If you can see it, I will be turning around later on and quilting. Handy Quilter, I'm a Handy Quilter educator. They sent panels to the educators, and they're all due this weekend. So you will see online many of us posting our quilting of these quilts because we all waited until the very last minute. Has it been sitting here for 6 months? Yes, it has. But it's neat that we all have, I think there are 4 or 5 different panels, but they're all, I think it's a Lone Star, I think they would call it that. And all the different ways we're choosing to do that. We have a lot of people who've quilted them on their, I think everyone but me quilted it on their long arm on a frame. And a lot of people quilted with Pro Stitcher or free motion or both. I decided to do it on my stationery just to add a little extra flavor into it. And so I'm in the midst of that right now. You might have seen a little on my social media, the steps of me basting it. The next thing going up is I'm almost finished with the Stitch in the Ditch. And then I've got a lot of listening left to do of books and other workshops and things online. So I'm just going to plug in and get the quilting done. That'll be fun to see. They'll all be unique. That is true. Next week is Handy Quilter Academy, and that is classes put on by Handy Quilter in Layton, Utah. It's outside Salt Lake, and all the classes are taught by Handy Quilter educators, and I think we bring in a national, another national teacher or two. I'm not teaching there this year. I knew I was having a baby this month, and I was not committing to be out of town. I wanted to be available physically and or emotionally for anything that was needed, and not be in Utah. So that's going on, and that's where they'll be displayed. So I'll link to them if they put out a show of all of them. But you'll get to see what mine look like. I'm digging the quilt in the big picture. Behind me, I'm sorry, I'm looking here. And to distract myself from looking at all of my gray, I'm looking at the quilt behind me. And I really love the way it looks. I wish I had better close-up pictures, but I'll wait for the sun. So I'm working on that Handy Quilter quilt, and I'm going to put in another reel of how do I decide what to quilt. And the quilt's only about 62 inches square, something like that. It shouldn't take terribly long. The foundation is mostly done. It's basted, and I have just a little bit more Stitch in the Ditch to do. Then stitch away. So stay tuned for that. I will definitely put links there. Wait, that's not what I wanted. And the last thing I want to show, let me pull up another quilt. Let me find the photo here. Is it here? Is it here? It should be recent. I had it recently. Here it is. Okay. No sun in Missouri today. Overcast with rain expected later. We're growing mushrooms here. But apparently it only rains on the weekends. I mean, it rains during the week too, but it definitely rains on the weekends. I think we're at 24, 25 weeks in a row of rainy weekends, of rainy bad weather weekends. So yeah, that's the way it goes. Not a lot of bike riding has happened here because I need a day with my husband and I home to get me up and started on my bike. But it's rain. In 2009, it rained every day in July except the day of my son's wedding, like every day. And so it's not unprecedented. And hopefully the rain is mild and you don't have any any flooding or anything like that. I'm not sure where you are. I live on a mountain. I'm not going to flood. And we're not expecting that type of rain here, but I know that this is violent weather season. We are into tornado season, and we've started hurricane season. But we're just having blah rather than violent weather. Then let me find another quilt window, this one. So this is the next one I'm going to baste. This quilt is the next quilt I'm going to baste up to quilt. And I have a couple ideas of how to quilt it, and I'd like to talk to you about it, see if you have any ideas. I was thinking of one, I can stitch it in rows using stencils, and I can have a stencil centered in here, a stencil centered in here. So like here, flower, here, flower, here, flower, here, flower, or spiral or whatever. That's definitely one way to quilt it. By the way, I did not enjoy piecing the quilt, so I already have that emotion to it. Another thing and then the next row will be line, stencil, line, stencil, line, stencil. So I can definitely do that, and that would get the quilt quilted quickly and easily and get it done. This is going to my nephew and his significant other, his lady friend, and I met her for the first time. She was a unicorn for a long time because I kept hearing about this young woman, but I'd never met her. And then finally, the last time I was in Pittsburgh, I met her, so she's no longer a unicorn. And I offered her a quilt, and I took her to my car, in the trunk of my car, and showed her all the quilts. And she was like, I was like, I appreciate that, because there will be more and there will be many. So I send pictures of what I have going on, and this was the one she chose. So she'll like it no matter how it's quilted. She likes the color. Plan B on this quilt, and this would be if I'm still waiting for baby, I think, is to use the square in the center here and the diamond in the center here. The square in this block, the diamond in that block. I really hope you can see my cursor. And use that to stitch feathers on. So stitch feathers over the color and stitch feathers over the color, which would then leave ribbon candy for the rest. And that could be really fun. So maybe I'll have to baste it up and decide. But whatever I decide, I do have to choose a thread color. Black is what comes to mind, but if I video this for you, that's going to be a really challenging thing to see. I could also use a dark charcoal to make it show up better on video, but not overpower the quilt. Another option is bright yellow. Bright yellow is usually my neutral on a multicolor quilt like this. But what do you think of that? Let me come back and see ya. Where are you here? Joan, nice and bright. Yeah, thank you. I pieced 2 blocks of that quilt for an Annie's Creative Studio class and never finished it. So I finished it last summer at a quilt retreat. And then I found that I had to resize this. And then I found that they didn't match up. So then I needed to add sashing to it. So I mean, it just, yeah, and then quilt. So it's a pretty quilt, but I don't have happy memories. It was because it's a really big quilt, and it was a bit frustrating for me. But it's very pretty. I like it. She's going to love it. The quilting will be fine no matter what I choose. You know, any of the options I'm choosing are great. I'm not going to scribble swear words on it or anything. But, you know, this quilt already has 2 strikes against it. Got to appreciate that honesty. I love it. I love that honesty. And I told my daughter-in-law that, the one who just had the baby, about how much I appreciate that from her. Because I'm like, do you want anything? Like, we were at a Chinese bakery picking up some stuff, like we were picking up cake or whatever. And I was like, do you want anything here? She's like, I want that and that and that. We go to a restaurant. She's like, this is what I want. I love that. And I've known her since she was maybe 13, 14 years old, and she didn't come that way. So it's been great watching her turn into a woman and who knows her own mind. She's like, oh, you know, no bother, whatever anybody else wants, but she knows what she wants. And and I appreciate that about this formerly unicorn nephew's significant other. So I appreciate people who know what they want, and ask for it. Yikes, that would be a lot of ribbon candy. You say that like it's a bad thing. I love ribbon candy personally, and I may have just finished quilting another quilt. I didn't show you this one because this will come out later this month, but I may have just quilted another squared away quilt just so I could ribbon candy on it. like that. So yeah, it's actually on the rack right now. It'll be on TV tomorrow. It'll be on that video because I'm putting another wall in my sewing room. I have quilt hanger walls. So I have this one up for one wall, and there'll be another wall here. So you don't get to see the messy sewing room, is what I'm saying. So it'll be on video tomorrow. But I quilt ribbon candy. Some quilts I make just because I want to sit down and quilt ribbon candy. It's kind of like therapy for me. Sit there with my book. Like I'm in the midst of Game of Thrones on audio, which is 202 hours total. I think I'm down to 95. Not sure. I have to go back and do some math. But kings were conquered during the labor of my daughter-in-law's labor. Kings rose, kings fell, people died, people were born. A lot happens in there. So no, I love listening to audiobooks and quilting, and especially if I just sit down and do the ribbon candy, which is, again, why there's a lot of ribbon candy on here. You might make a squared away just to practice. You'd be a pro by the time you finish. That's how it's done. Another one to do is Sweet Tooth. It's another one of my cutie quilts. Those are both cutie quilt patterns of mine. And both of those are like easy answer. They're going to be ribbon candied. The third one is a cutie quilt that I didn't design. It's still in forever and always is going to make me angry because it's like the perfect ribbon candy quilt. Is Picnic Patch. And then another one is Freeze Frame. There's a lot of ribbon candy space on those 4 quilts. Those are my 4 favorite quilts for ribbon candy. Next month's color block quilt, there will be ribbon candy. But a lot of times, how should you quilt it? How should I quilt this quilt? A lot of times, if I'm not quilting it as a class sample, like I made this quilt, and this is Irresistible. This is another cutie quilt. I made that because there's a certain type of quilting in a class I'm teaching that I'm going to be quilting on here, and that will show up. Everything I do, if it doesn't make it out for public, is in as the Bobbin Turns. So this is going to be quilted all with rulers. There's certain things I want to stitch on there. So, if a lot of times the quilting, it's work related, like I need a sample, and that's all enjoyable and lovely. Like that's a great quilt to quilt this technique on. It'll show it off beautifully and everything's great. But sometimes I just sit and I want to quilt for me because that's the way I quilt. I want to quilt. I want to quilt for me emotionally. And that's why there's a whole lot of quilting on this quilt. And it was perfect. And the border, I was going to have either a simple design or some feathers in it, but I'm like, no, really into pumpkin seeds right now. So you got pumpkin seeds again. Sweet Tooth pattern, you have it. Yeah, it's a rail fence based on a cutie pack. So I have a whole bucket of rail fence of Sweet Tooth blocks sitting in front of me that I'm going to start quilting together and basting up just for therapy. It's on my list. I have a calendar of what goes online. So it's my social media content calendar. And then I have all the quilts that I need to make to schedule and put on there for future months. This is just June. I have July's quilt over at my desk. So yeah, I make quilts for different reasons, but even if I'm doing them for work, number one, I want to be in the work mood, but because I want to enjoy it while I'm doing it. But if I really just want to sit and quilt ribbon candy, because that's where I am emotionally, that's what I do. So anyway, that's the emotions of my quilting choices. Let's see what else we got. So it's a boy. I have a Handy Quilter Summerfest video tomorrow. There will be a panel of people, myself included, talking about running a long arm quilting business. Color blocks. The quilting video is going to be coming out. There'll be a newsletter coming out with that. I have a Handy Quilter Lone Star quilt panel behind me. You'll be seeing more of that because that has to be done this week. And then I showed that I'm going to be quilting Dublin. That will be coming out by the end of the month. So, and I'm going to be trying to put out a Pro Stitcher tutorial. I teach beginner Pro Stitcher classes in a really basic way. So I want to start putting at least one Pro Stitcher tutorial online. And what Pro Stitcher is, for those who don't know, is Handy Quilter long arms on a frame can be run with a computer program. And I show how to use that computer program. So I'll be putting out some tutorials with that, probably one a month. And that is my goal by the end of the month. So hold on, I just got a text. I want to see if it's another baby picture. Oh, I have a prescription to pick up at the pharmacy, so not nearly as exciting. Oh, in case anyone caught the rubber band on my phone, this is my wallet. This is my favorite phone case, but it broke yesterday, and it has this RFID thing in here, and I can keep 5 cards in there. So it's like my credit card, my driver's license, my insurance card, but it broke while I was out, and I have a new one coming today, but it's being rubber banded closed. So no, I don't always keep a band on my phone. I just don't want my credit cards flying everywhere. So that was a little longer today. And for the rest of the month, I should be around. But if if this new baby and his parents decide that that they need some help on a Tuesday, I may move you to a Wednesday. But I'm not waiting for the birth anymore. I'm just about 2 hours away from their house. So if they make a plan saying, "Oh, we're just so tired. Could you come? Like, I can come watch the baby, do dishes, do laundry, whatever they need." I can't do a lot of cleaning because I can't stand and bend a lot, but I can fold laundry, I can do dishes. I'll bring a chair with me. I have a bar stool that I teach on. So, they'll probably plan the days they want me to come up and bring dinner, but if something happens, they're the reason that I'm around this month. My entire priority for the month is my daughter and her new baby. Yay, Pro Stitcher tutorial. Yeah, Sandal. I teach a lot of classes on it, and people are begging to have it on video. Let's see. Savannah, the bell lets you know when I'm live. Oh, good. Yes. So thank you for reminding me that. Be sure to subscribe to the video, follow me, and I do schedule it as an event, which I can reschedule if I have to, if something comes up that I'm needed for the baby. But definitely so you'll know what happens. I just want to let you know I don't have anything scheduled on for the rest of the month, but if this grandchild needs something, that's what grandma's around for. Like yesterday, I was out. I was running a couple errands and I was going to go to the grocery store and I hadn't talked to my daughter and she called while I was out. So I texted my husband quickly, not going to the grocery store because the most important thing I had to do yesterday was to listen and to talk to my daughter-in-law and her wife and the baby. And yeah, so quilting is really important to me, but family is more important. And I'm sure, and for those people who disagree with that, don't follow me. So I don't have to worry about you. I'm not, if I don't have to worry about anyone not understanding that. Whenever I was sick and took a year off of work, and then those of you who are still here or came back, I know you love me and understand priorities. So I am going to go do some editing of video, work on July's color block quilt. Do I have a schedule for the Pro Stitcher stuff? I have a friend that has an Amara that would appreciate it. It's just going to be on YouTube. Have her subscribe to my YouTube channel. It'll be out by the end of the month, hopefully. And again, everything went well with the baby, so I'm not going to be as away. With my first grandchild on the other side, with my son's first, he was in the hospital for a couple weeks. So I took a month off of work and spent most of it there. So that's yeah. So I should be home. I should get it in. Let's see. Let me look at the actual calendar. Today is the 17th. By the 30th, it like late. I'm thinking it'll be the 30th. Around then it'll be out. But just have her subscribe to my YouTube channel and just not watch the stuff that involves the live videos or the home machine quilting if she's not interested in that. My YouTube is live videos. My scheduled videos are one cutie quilt a month and one Pro Stitcher tutorial a month. That's my goal. I also have an As the Bobbin Turns quilt, which is my subscriber, and then my color blocks. Those aren't on YouTube. Those are elsewhere. Those are on at debbiebrownquilts.com. Click the online classes button. So that's what I got for you today. I'm going to go do some editing of video, some sewing, and I'm just going to keep checking to see if any more baby pictures are being coming to my phone because that's where I'm at. I can't wait to smell them and just nuzzle. But again, I really need to hug my daughter too. So thank you for being along on this journey. Happy quilting, everyone. Take care of yourselves, however that looks like. If that looks like definitely quilting ribbon candy or definitely not quilting ribbon candy. Take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. Because other people don't get to, I saw a neat video this morning. Other people don't get to set our standards. That if people are mean to you, you can still be nice to them because they don't get to set the standard. We can set the standard of being more nice than they are, more generous than they are, more kind than they are. I really appreciated that. So I will be here again next Tuesday, most likely at 2:30 in the afternoon, New York time. Until then, take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and happy quilting. Bye.